I've been pretending to feel guilty for a long time to make my marriage work. I've been acting like I'm sorry for something, even though I don't really feel that way, just to keep the peace and avoid fights with my spouse. About 4 years ago, something terrifying happened. While my family was sleeping, someone broke into our home. I had to defend myself and my loved ones, so I shot the intruder 5 times with my 12-gauge shotgun. The police investigated and decided I had done nothing wrong. It was a clear case of self-defense. Even though the experience was traumatic and left me with some lasting anxiety at night, I don't regret protecting my family. I don't feel sorry for the person who broke in, and I would do the same thing again if I had to. After the incident, my wife tried to have conversations with me about what happened. I was honest with her and told her that I felt I had done what I needed to do to protect myself and our family. I also told her that the intruder's death was his own fault for breaking into our home with a weapon. But over time, my wife started to act differently towards me. She became colder and more distant. Our marriage began to struggle. We started arguing more often, and during one of those fights, she said something that really hurt me. She told me that she didn't think she could stay married to someone who could take a life and not feel any remorse or guilt about it. This made me really angry because I felt like I was being blamed for doing what I had to do to keep her and our kids safe. We argued about it all night. She thought I was just hiding my true feelings and wanted me to see a therapist to deal with my emotions. I didn't think therapy was necessary, but eventually, I agreed to go just to make her happy. I found a therapist and started going to sessions. For the first few months, we talked about the break-in and how I felt about what happened. Eventually, the therapist said that I was dealing with it as well as could be expected, but offered to continue our sessions to work on some other issues I had. It turned out that he had experience with some of the traumatic things I went through as a kid, so our sessions started focusing more on that. I don't see the therapist as often anymore, but I still go every now and then. My wife thinks I'm still going because of the shooting, and I let her believe that. I told her that the therapist is helping me deal with the guilt I feel about it, but that's not true. I still don't feel any remorse or guilt, but I've learned to just keep it to myself now.
Story 2.
I had to make a difficult choice at the lake. I chose to save my mom instead of my baby sister. This incident happened a while back, but I'm still dealing with the consequences of my decision. Thankfully, no one died, but it was a possibility for a moment. My mom was playing with my siblings in the lake when she suddenly passed out for no apparent reason. My brother, who's 10 and can swim, was there, but my 3-year-old sister, who wasn't a strong swimmer and was wearing a life jacket, started panicking. In that moment, I chose to save my mom instead of helping my sister to shore. Other people saw what was happening and rushed in, but instead of helping my mom, they focused on my sister when they saw her struggling. Everyone was shocked and scared when my sister started flailing around. My brother was desperately screaming for help, but nobody responded until my sister started panicking. It was like they thought my brother was overreacting or lying. But I could see my mom was in trouble. She wasn't moving and was sinking underwater. My brother was trying to keep her afloat, but he wasn't strong enough. I was in shock, and when I saw that nobody was helping, I went into panic mode. In that moment, I didn't think about my sister's safety. I only thought about saving my mom. I love my sister dearly, but my instincts took over, and I chose to save my mom instead. Since then, my family has been extremely angry with me, but I don't know what I was supposed to do differently. I didn't have time to think, I just reacted. My mom is also mad at me, but I don't understand why. My sister is now terrified of water and won't even take a bath. I've been the center of attention in our family for the past month, and it's been really tough. I was convinced my mom was going to die that day. I had to yell at everyone to call 911 and do something to help. But instead of focusing on my mom, who was unconscious in the lake, they were all more worried about my sister, who was crying. I don't remember much about what happened after that, but I know it was a lot to deal with. I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense. Today is just tougher than usual, and I needed to get this off my chest. I didn't want to share this on my main account because I don't want people to see my thoughts and talk about me even more. I'm exhausted from being the villain. I never thought saving my mom would be seen as a bad decision. Some days I regret it, and then I feel stupid for even thinking that. Other days, I just want to disappear. Everyone seems to hate me, and I just don't understand why. Why wouldn't I choose my mom? I've known her my whole life, and she means everything to me. Right now, I feel like I hate my entire family. I don't think anyone handled the situation correctly. My brother could have gotten hurt, and my mom could have died, but nobody seems to care about my brother's well-being. Just because he didn't get physically hurt and knows how to swim, he's still going through a lot. But everyone's ignoring that.
Story 3.
Today, my wife did something that made me feel like a shy teenager all over again. She made me blush. My wife and I have been together for a long time, 20 years, to be exact. Lately, I've been feeling a bit insecure about myself. About a year ago, I reached my heaviest weight, almost 300 pounds. On top of that, I've been losing hair on my head, and it's been growing more in other places. I wasn't feeling like myself at all. Things were also really tough at work, and we had just moved to a new place across the country. To say I was stressed is an understatement. So, we joined a gym, hired a personal trainer, and started working out. Today was our last session with the trainer, and we were taking our final measurements. I'm proud of myself, so bear with me. I worked really hard and lost 70 pounds. My body fat percentage went down to 20%. I'm now at a healthy weight for my age and height. I was feeling great, so when we got home, we took a shower together. My wife was talking about the TV show Grey's Anatomy, and I made a joke that if I were on the show, they wouldn't call me McFatty anymore. She quickly replied that if I were on the show, they'd probably call me McDaddy instead. I'm still smiling about it. I feel like I've hit the jackpot with my wife. She still thinks I'm attractive, even though I'm not exactly the most handsome guy. Let's be real, I'm not exactly the next TV star, but she loves me anyway.